Joined now by the voice of the Brooklyn Nets, Chris Carrino. Chris, so great to have you on the show. Always great to see you. How's everything going?
Everything's good, Bobby. Nice to see you in your art museum.
I see that you're outside taking advantage of the good weather these days.
Oh, it's gorgeous. I mean, I notice I'm representing Fordham. I knew this was in the Bronx. Had to represent my home borough where I went to college. And if I can't be on Rose Hill right now, I could be in my backyard.
Well, very nice. You know, the summer weather is returning, and it looks like there's a good possibility that the NBA could be returning, that there is momentum building in the association to try to have basketball back, which as a basketball broadcaster, I think is probably pretty good news. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in the NBA.
It's almost like a rain delay where you got to be ready just in case they decide, hey, let's get back to work. We're gonna jump back into it. But right now, to be completely honest with you, I don't think the league knows exactly what they're going to do at this moment. I don't know how we will broadcast the games when they come back. Will we be on campus with these players? Will we be in a studio? We'll be in our homes. We really haven't. We all these things are on the table right now. But I really do feel, just as the country is starting to feel a little momentum to open up, I think the league is getting itchy to get back in it, and hopefully we can resume this season that got suspended sometime this summer.
So players back at the training centers, but not the Nets training center. So I think pretty clear that the way things are right now in New York City, it makes sense for them not to be back.
Bobby, I think that's like, a lot of people compare this time to 9/11, and I'm not trying to make a direct lineage to it, but there are some comparisons in this area in terms of the way the rest of the country maybe views what's going on and the way we do here in the metropolitan area. I mean, literally across the street from the Nets practice facility is where they're storing refrigerated trucks that they could use as morgues if they need them. You have so many thousands of people have lost their lives in this area. And I think there's more of an impact in this area. Maybe we're a little more sensitive to what's going on in the New York tri-state area than they are in the rest of the country. So I don't know how quickly the Nets facility is going to open. They may have to go somewhere else if everybody else is opening. But I think you got to be cautious, and then again, wait for the data and see what's happening when the country starts to open up.
I think that's a big question right now, is whether or not sports should even be back. And it seems like you have some people that are very split on the topic. Some people suggesting that sports is healing, that it should return. And then so many people, especially NBA stars, I thought it was interesting the comments made by Shaquille O'Neal about just chalk up the season, let's walk away and wait till next year.
Yeah, you have to be sensitive to, just look at the families that were affected. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns lost his mother. That's just recently. But again, that's a debate that's going on throughout the country right now, and when it's appropriate to open up. We were in San Francisco on a West Coast trip when the suspension occurred, when Gobert tested positive. And we were getting ready to broadcast the game with no fans. San Francisco would shut down. They said, we're not going to allow fans into the game. And we were sort of looking forward to it in a weird way, because it was going to be this unique experience. Like, how do we bring you this game and there'll be no crowd? How is that going to sound? Logistically, how are we going to do it? Are the players going to hear me doing play-by-play courtside? Is that going to be weird, interesting, or weird fun, good? And then all of a sudden we didn't get to do it. But, you wonder how it's going to appear on TV and how it would be received. But I do think if they could find a way to do it, it would really be beneficial.
Chris, would you feel safe going back to the press box when the games return?
I think if the precautions are taken by the experts who say this is how we have to do it, then I'll go back to work if that's my job and I'm told to do, and my workplace is saying that we are making it safe for you, or as safe as can possibly be, then I will do that. And if they say it's going to be safer for everyone if you do it out of a studio somewhere, then that's what we'll do. I just think that, but again, I have some health related issues, but not a compromised immune system as far as I know. So, that's just, I'll do what my job entails as long as I know that my employer is looking after my safety.
I'm not sure if our fans at home know this, but of course you were born in the Bronx, even though you grew up in Yonkers and went to Iona Prep and Fordham University. And I thought it was great to see on your Twitter that your son is up and comer in this business as well.
You know, much like myself at that age, the guys that are WFUV now, we were living and breathing sports as kids. And no matter what you do, I mean, I know how incredibly fortunate I am to have gone from my public speaking career at Iona Prep to my radio career at Fordham, and now to stay in the New York area, be the voice of a team for almost 2 decades. All something I used to do for fun when I was 10 or 11 years old. So I know how incredibly fortunate I am to do that. I would love to see my son, if that's his passion, which I think it is, be able to do that. And every young person out there growing up in the Bronx or anywhere that this is reaching, you know, if you have a passion for something and you have skills that can be refined, can be learned, you may face enormous obstacles, but you can still fulfill those dreams. And if anybody has ever looked at my story and want to take away something from that, that's what it would be.
That was definitely where I wanted to go in closing our interview today, Chris. I mean, I tell people all the time, I think you are one of the best at play-by-play in the business, but also in having known you, I think one of the things that stands out to everyone that knows you is you are a great person and you've accomplished so many great things with your foundation. I was hoping that you could educate those that may be unaware about what's going on there and how they might be able to contribute as well.
Well, I appreciate that, Bobby. Thank you very much. I was diagnosed with a type of muscular dystrophy when I was in my early 20s, right around the time I was leaving Fordham. And I kind of was noticing things while I was at Fordham. And, you know, think about that, being that kid getting out of college, embarking on what's a very competitive field and very difficult to break into. And getting that news and that diagnosis, you have a muscle wasting disease. There's no cure. There's no treatment. It's going to get worse over your life, and you have to be able to deal with it. And you know, that was the obstacle I had to overcome. And I put my head down and I did the work I needed to do, and I learned a lot from it as a person. And got to about 40 years old, 2010, and realized that this was something I needed to address head on. And I had made enough of a name for myself that I needed to start spreading awareness and try and do what I can do to find a treatment or a cure for people who are going through this. And we started the Chris Carrino Foundation for FSHD. We were set to have our 10th annual gala this year. It's probably not going to happen the way we normally do it, maybe do something virtually right now. But we've raised money, over $1 million over the last 10 years that's gone directly to research projects. And that's it. Nobody in my staff takes a salary or we don't have rent to pay or overhead. We bring it in, we give it to researchers, to scientists. So during this time, I've had a chance to have some meetings with researchers and, do some of the things that I don't always have time to do, and focus our efforts on where the money's going to go. And, if people go to our website, chriscarrinofoundation.org, they can see what we're all about, what my story is, what we've tried to do over the years, and hope to inspire some people, as I mentioned, trying to overcome things and achieve their dreams, and also try and cure a disease, which is, as we're learning now with the talk of COVID-19 and working with the FDA and the NIH and the CDC, and it's not that easy to get these things done. The work they're doing in a short period of time is absolutely miraculous. And to make miracles, you have to put in the work, and that's what we're trying to do.
100%. Chris, keep up the great work. Thank you so much for taking time with us today, and I can't wait to hear the voice of the Nets back calling the games. It's always great to listen to you.
Can't wait to see you in the press room, Bobby. Thanks. Take care.